All right, guys. Welcome to LinkedIn Live, which is crazy because my guest Sergio, he and I were having some wonderful food. It actually really was good food at the EdTech
It was.
Insiders event on maybe Monday night, Tuesday night. I can't remember. It's all running
Monday.
together.
Yeah.
Monday night, we were at ASU GSV in San Diego. And the last time we saw each other before that was in Monterrey, Mexico. And the last time we saw
Right.
each other before that was years before. Um, so welcome here. Nice to see you again, Sergio. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you. And thank you very much for having me back.
Yeah, cool. Um, I'm a firm believer in breaking things and doing things differently and seeing what the heck happens, especially in business, less in life as I get older. Um, but,
Smart.
you know, yeah, we've never necessarily had one of our guests kind of come on and have an extension of the show. I just think that, um, my butt's dragging. So I'm so glad you're on this show right now. You can help me bring the energy up. And B, I have so many lessons that you have learned as you've scaled your business. Um, and I think that'll be really valuable to people. So before we get into where you are now, if you can, tell everybody about you, where you're from, give us the 1 minute so we can start to really dig in.
Well, yeah, sure. Thank you. Sergio Abramovich. I'm in New York right now. I live in New York City, but most of our activities between US and Latam and Latin America. So I travel a lot around in the US and in Latin America. Um, I'm originally from Argentina, but I have been living in the States and in Europe and in India and in other places for the last 30 years. So, I mean, I'm a little bit from here and there. What we do, I lead a company called Scala Learning, and what we do is that we launch and run the online universities for traditional campus-based universities. So that's what we do. And good to
Here
be
we
here.
are. Here we are. Cool. We have a community, as I told you, that was going to be chiming in. Josh Fisher from the Midwest, Ken Spiegel from the South, member of the tribe, Cynthia Harrison Barbera from California. So we've got most of the U.S. covered at this point, which is very nice. And Seema saying hello as well. So people are chiming in, and I really thought. Well, sometimes, Sergio, I come on here and it's just me. But everybody's showing up for you. We got, Edwin now from University of Texas, San Antonio. So he's down there in Texas. So people chiming in from all over. So uh, let's talk about where you are right now in business with Scala Learning. And we broke down kind of 5 different points that I wanted to hit in this conversation. And the first one I wanted to talk about is essentially a direct quote from you, because we have it on record here. It says, "Why hustle harder is actually bad advice. And what would you do instead? And what would you tell my entrepreneurs that have joined here to do instead of hustling harder?"
Yeah, I think again, and I think as an opening for our conversation, uh, first of all, I would say um, e- each one of us will have our businesses, our lines, our divisions, or what we are doing, and everybody gives advice, and I think that you always have to take it with grain of salt. There's a it's so what I will try to do is like to share my experience. That it could be
Okay.
useful or not, but that's all we all can do. So that's first uh eh, just to have it. And look, at the end of the day, when we were talking about that, I think that The important thing always is like to have a plan, to be a little bit smarter on that. I just think that sometimes we get into a loop of this hustling, and we go and go, but uh, if we don't have a very clear idea of where we want to go, it's like it's just that it's a continuous um, spinning of the wheel without really getting the results that we want. um, so my point there was like, let's first of all, let's have it smarter, and that means let's have a plan. Let's have very clear outputs that we want to get. Let's measure ourselves with those outputs. Um, and let's divide it in phases. I mean, it's people sometimes it's like, okay, this is where I want to get. Yeah, 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 sure. You're gonna get there in 2, 3 years, but what is gonna happen next month, or what you want to see? What are the green shots that you want to see while the tree is growing or in getting to that point? So that will get you the feedback to really do work, be smarter on what you do, be more focused, direct your efforts, and really measure whether you're getting where you want. And that was a little bit of the point of like um, just not go, and that super hustle that I think that it doesn't really work all the time, but we all do it. I mean, particularly
Mhm.
founders, that's because it's the passion, because that's how we see it. But again, I think that it's important to stop, see around, and plan it a little bit better. And after that, go. And okay, you will go and we'll see where it goes. But that essentially was my point there about that first quote.
Totally. And obviously the you practice what you preach here in terms of going, and that sometimes we might make mistakes. And I know as I look around the room here, certainly myself, and we've got wonderful people, and Josh and Ken and Cynthia and Seema and Edwin, who have all made mistakes. And the types of people we have in this community are people who make mistakes, stand up when they make mistakes, and then move forward. So, can you talk about mistakes that you've made? And I know that you have one that you reference, and explain how you moved past it.
So look, I mean, I then like it's you're saying like we make some. It's every day. I mean, I think that I used to. I don't know if I told you about my great grandmother always used to say is like, sorry for I screw up today. I'm sorry because I will do it again tomorrow. I mean, it's like
Mhm.
hopefully for something different,
Yeah, yeah.
um, but it's unavoidable. That's what is going to happen. First, second, I have to confess to you that I'm not great. I mean, it hurts when I'm wrong and when I make
Mhm.
mistakes. I mean, there's people that actually are really very good and they move. Um, I'm not. I'm not. It has been. I have to work on that, and the work that I have done is like try to get into that. Um, really, the analysis of like, okay, what we have learned, what have we learned of this, and what are we gonna do next? Kind of like what is a clean slate? I mean, we cannot dwell in the past, but let's learn. That's something that again I'm saying it has been a lot of personal work because that was not my DNA. My DNA was more like, oh, I it was a mistake and this is bad. So the work that I have done, and I'm still working on that, is like trying to say, okay, let's try to channel that energy into something um, um, really useful. And again, what has been that um, the big ones. I don't know which one I mentioned before, so you can remind me that. But I can tell you, um, I think that at the end of the day, there's a, two that always come to mind for me, and it's one is obviously people and how you get the right team, and the right team sometimes is the right team for the company for that moment and for you. I
Mhm.
mean, there's amazing people all over, but it's like what works and what doesn't for the dynamic of the company. And I think that I hadn't, that has been a mistake that I have made, um, sometimes bringing people to the team that were not, they were amazing, but the dynamic was not good, and actually
Mm.
they end up being disruptive.
Mm.
Um, and, and I think that internal promotions sometimes are like much better if you can do it. And I, that's something that I didn't do too much before. Um, the other one, I think that's like it's really, and again, I, because I'm very passionate about what I do, sometimes I want to do too much. And so this is something that I struggle with, and my team helped me with a lot. That's to focus on fewer things,
Mm.
um, and and less shining stuff. I mean, it's like we all like the shiny stuff, but most of the times the shining stuff doesn't pay. Uh,
Yeah.
Many times, sometimes it does if you are a luxury product company, but otherwise it does not. And in my experience, and but we all like them, so we all chase them, and it's a distraction. So I feel that sometimes, or most of the times, for me to focus on few, sometimes, yeah, I have to say few and boring. Sorry for saying it, but sometimes that works. Um, has saved me. I mean, the mistakes were the opposite. Following
Yeah.
too many and many shiny that they were amazing, but were not taking me where I needed. And the same thing, bringing sometimes people that were maybe amazing, but they were not the right one for the dynamic of the entire team, of the entire company, and was very disruptive. And to learn from that again, it's not easy, at least for me, but that's in the path that I'm trying to get and that I have
Mm.
been working in the last years.
One of the things that you and I talked about as the sun was going down in San Diego, we were eating that wonderful food. And I guess the reason I'm so impressed by it because you go to so many events where the food is just no good, and the food was so good. I'll move past that.
Eventually, yeah.
We we we
We
we
should do
did.
that. We should rank the events by the quality of food so people will have that as a reference too, in order to choose which place to go for what. I mean, that's there's something there. I leave it to you, but
I can figure that out. Then we get invited to
sure.
everything. That'd be cool. We'll just go. We'll go party hopping,
Bingo.
like we're 21. Um, but one of the things that we talked about was this idea of boring, and that boring actually is what we all want. While we may not think we want it, what we want is a boring business. And a boring business allows you to do the same thing over and over again. For example, part of my business is I have, a strategy call I do. And I counted and I did it 252 times last year. The same call from my side. Granted, I was talking to 252 different companies, but the same call on my side. And it's almost like I relate it back to a golf swing. Like I just swung the club the same way. And then as I got better and better, I might do a little flop shot or a little fade or a little slice, but I was controlling the ball. And so boring is what we want. That being said, partners are also fun. And partners can help you expand the business. So you have a philosophy on partners about falling in love. And I was wondering if you could talk to folks here. I actually know my one of my clients, Josh Fisher, has begun to kind of study your business. He's like, maybe there's something there. So, how do you evaluate partners and how do you look at them, especially when it comes to love?
Yeah. Two things, or one thing before moving to love. I mean, and I think that it's like using the word boring in business and things is like it's very kind of like, okay, I mean, you should turn off now. I mean, and but I think that we may need to look for a better word,
Okay.
but the boring on the, or I need to, the boring on the, just to clarify here to people, it's like the consistency, the focus, the that not every day needs to be a revolution, that could be gradual. This is what I mean with boring. I was like, I think that I have a lot of fun working at my company, and I really think that um, if you, particularly for many of us in education that have been in education for many many years, we do it because we feel the passion, we feel a passion about it. We there's a purpose, a mission, and that's invigorating, and that's definitely not boring.
Yeah.
um, but I always say that, I mean, for me, there's a and growth. I always say in education is a social mandate. I mean, we need to grow because we need to bring more people to have access to more people and bring more opportunities. So we really need to grow, and that's not boring either. But again, after that, so once you really get that. Um, stimulates maybe the creativity or the initial change or break something or you start something new. Is like after that you have to consistently implement that. That's what
Yeah.
I mean with the boring side, and don't get distracted now. But let's get to the love side.
Fair
um
enough. I'll tell
so
you,
sorry.
I'm
Yeah,
also,
go.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, because what I preach, what I get our clients to are repeatable processes when they come to sales. So I'm 100% aligned with you. I just feel like as the entrepreneurs who have started the companies, you know, boring is a little bit challenging for us. But what we have to recognize is actually boring is really a mountaintop that we should really strive to get to and enjoy it from the top. So that's where I'm coming from. Hansa is agreeing on the food. There's three of us. Sweet. Cameron, you're never late. Happy to have you. Everybody else, chime in, say hi, and I'm going to hand the mic back to you.
Yeah, so about love, I mean, and again, I hear like using it, and as we were discussing in Monterrey, I mean, people sometimes laugh about it because it's like, but I really believe on this. You really need to need me. I really need to need you. Um, and you need to trust me, and I need to trust you. Uh, and that's not only as partners, but the environment around us. For example, in education, regulatory environment is a key thing. You know, we are a highly regulated sector. Um, so if I'm in a place where the regulatory environment is very harsh and I cannot really do what I need to do, I just have to say this is great, but I cannot work here. I mean, there's no love for me or for a company
Mhm.
like mine. I mean, and I will have to look for the right market where I could do that. You know, um, so that's the first point. I mean, it's like kind of like you have to be very clear, saying like, uh, is really, do you really want? Not only that you need me. I mean, the need me. It's the basic thing that we will learn. I mean, it's like that's partnership 101. Do you need me? Do I need you? Sure, 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 sure. But it's
Yeah.
like, do you really want to work with me? Are you really looking to to do something with somebody else because you think that you're gonna get better? And do you really believe that your organization, your institution, your company is gonna be better off when working with somebody else? If that's the type of love that I'm looking for, so it's really that extra level of alignment in the partnership. Um,
Mhm.
when you have and if you're gonna sell for 1 month once, or you have a 1 year contract, it's less relevant. Our contracts are long-term contracts, so um, if you don't have that, it's very difficult, because the reality is that in most of the partnerships, there's going to be a lot of bad days. Maybe it's a 50-50, whatever it is, or like if you're lucky. Um, and or whatever the percentage, each one. I'm sure that all of us have different stories that
Yeah.
we are thinking and laughing or crying at this moment. But that level of of understanding is what keeps you going. Because if it's just very transactional, the first the really the tendency will be to break apart. I mean, it's like, it's if you don't have something stronger, it's like, and some people will think that I'm talking about spouses here or partners in life, and you
Not
could
far
use it
off.
too if you, but it's not far off. I mean, it's like I mean, it's like um, you have to work it a lot, but that has to be the base too. So that's why I always say, um, love. And I will give you an example. I mean, again, there were some places, I mean, we were talking with some universities that that uh, we really saw that maybe the president of the university was with us, uh, wanted to work with us, but some most of the faculty didn't. And of course, there's a part that you are like, okay, I think that I can gain you over, and you work on that, but there's a moment too where you realize that no, this is never going to happen here. Um, and my advice on that is like, then move on. I mean, because it's like there's nothing you can do
Right.
um, if that doesn't exist. So sorry, I mean, I went a little bit on the personal side, but I think that many of the partnerships with companies are similar than
It's true.
partnerships with other people.
It has to feel that way. We talk about this idea, especially week one of the Ed Sales Elevation Experience. I'm going to put up real quickly a QR code here. We talk about the Ed Sales Elevation Experience. In it, we talk about really finding this idea of frictionless relationships with your partners. Again, they have to want you as much as you want them. And yeah, there's going to be good days and bad days, but at the end, if it starts off well, then you most likely have a chance for it to continue well, even through the good and the bad.
Yeah, yeah, and the reality is that for me, for everybody, I mean, some of those are not going to work, and you're going to try, and they will not, and they are not going to be frictionless, and it's a lot of work to get to that frictionless. So it's like, it is work, but this is why I say it's like that's what you need to really get it on the right track, and to have the margin of, I mean, of error,
Mm-hmm.
to try to prove things, to evolve, because that's the nature of the relationships, that you're not gonna get it right at the beginning, even
Mm-hmm.
if you're amazing, and it's gonna
You're
take
right.
time.
You're right. That's interesting. I'm going to add that in. I don't use the words ideal client. I use the words perfect client because I believe that in education, the perfect client is out there, but probably you're right. I should hedge my bets a little bit and say the perfect client with a margin of error. Cynthia, who's in one of our current cohorts here, Cynthia, we're going to get you to this idea of boring. And Cynthia's heard me say this, Sergio. I like to talk to people about this idea of, um, window washing. I'm not sure if we talked about this, but pretend you're a window washer in New York City. Exactly. Window washing. And Sergio, you walk out and you're a window washer and you look at two buildings in New York City, and one of them has completely clean windows and one of them has totally dirty windows. And I ask you, who do you want to go work with? And I think the metaphor holds very much true in the education space. You want to go find, if you're a window washer, you're going to go walk first and maybe only to the building with clean windows because they value your work. They love seeing straight through. They love that smell. And those are the types of clients we're looking for. We don't need to convince people with dirty windows how much they should love clean windows. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's like I I I I was thinking in Karate Kid, of course, but when you say um but I totally agree. I think that you need that. Um and and after that is like once you get in, I mean, obviously what you want to see is like what is inside the building, no?
Yeah.
So but the windows will, I mean, it's that atmosphere, that experience, and you get in, and after that you have to close the deal, no?
That's true. I thought you were saying something different. You got to close the deal, A, but then, you know, so many companies. I coach a lot of companies. One of them is here in Ken Spiegel, and sometimes you get in on the inside of the building and you find out that there's a lot of shit buried inside that building.
Most
With
of the
Ken,
time.
it's been amazing. You know, Ken and his team, John and Samantha. I've just gotten closer and closer every time we get a chance to meet.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you're trying to serve everyone, you end up serving no one and you can burn out. So you've got 4 minutes here before you've got to run out. So let's just kind of wrap here, if we can, on this idea of burning out, because I don't want my friends who have joined here in this session to burn out. How do they avoid burning out?
Well, I don't know if somebody knows, please let me know. No, I think
You're the
um,
expert.
no, I think it's like I'm definitely not. I think it's like it's look. I think that we have to be careful not to do things 0-1 and define things 0-1, or you are burnout, or you are not burnout, or you are these or that. I mean, the reality is that there's um, some moments, some times that it's going to be bad and you may burn out. I mean, 1 week. You have to try to. This is why I think, first of all, let's try to get out of these 0-1 solutions, because then it's like, what is the opposite of burnout? I mean, complete happiness and contentment all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not realistic either. So the reality is that things are a little bit in the middle. There are some days that you're gonna feel bad and some others don't. So my first point is like try to get perspective. So it's like you're not, you try to see that there's some days and some good and some bad. So that's first. Second, um I really, for me, and I think that we talk about that, it's always about the mission. Um, I mean, when I'm super bad, I'm always thinking why I'm doing this, and it helps me. And what is my sense of purpose? Why I'm doing this? Um, and the third thing is like what really energizes you. I mean, for me, it's people. But for some others, it's lack of people. They don't want to be with you. So you have to choose what energizes you, and get that into your system so you can really uh, avoid that, and really um, get that into the process. But I think that it's very important to get it in the calendar. I mean, it's funny. I mean, for example, I try to go to the gym regularly, but
Mhm.
I I have it in the calendar. It's an appointment, because it's important for me and it's important for my health and my mental health. So I put it. So whatever it is that you do to keep you there is like included in your calendar. Make it part of your routine. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. But again, life is going to be more a little bit in the middle. Yeah, it's not happiness against unhappiness. It's
Yeah.
like, by the way, I
Wanna
don't know if that was a question, but that
No,
was
no,
the
it's
answer.
helpful. I mean, you gave a real personal answer on burnout. And I think that's really helpful because when I, again, look around this room, especially the people I know really well, we all have a tendency to think 0 and 1, and and you gave us a place to play in the middle. Um, so I've put the links to your show on Apple and Spotify, and also a blog post. The blog post, we went deep on it. There was a lot of stuff that you really shared that I think people can go deep on. And one of the things that you also talked about, and then I'll let you go here, is it's just about not about connections, it's about caring. And you and I have known each other for many years, and probably if we started to do some Jewish geography back in Argentina, you could probably connect with my wife as well. So that's how many years we might have known each other. Um, and we have
Yeah.
forged a connection here that we both care about each other. And I'm really grateful. I look forward to the next time that I get to see you. I appreciate you taking the time for
No,
doing this. You're
it's
busy.
it's always a pleasure, and on that point of caring, I I I I I'm a big believer of that. I think that it's like the same thing. This is why, I mean, again, I mean, I use the word love or things like, I think that you need that level of real caring and care to be able to have something that is stable. Again, you could do everything in a very transactional way, and for many people it works, and it works amazing. I believe on that extra one, because I think that there's you can build something bigger and for more
Mhm.
people when you put that extra, um if you believe on it, and I do.
Well,
So
let me
thank you
tell
very
you how
much
much
for saying it.
I'll tell you how much I believe in love, and then we can go. Is I have this super friggin' cool Argentina soccer jacket with a big ass collar. And I told my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna wear this. He's gonna love it. She's like, you're not wearing that, man. You're going on TV. Like, no. So next time I see you,
Next
I'll wear
time.
it. Yeah, but I decided to be
Absolutely.
professional on this. So thank you for joining. Really much, really appreciate it always. See you next time I get a chance to see you, maybe in New York in the fall, if not sooner. But thank you for taking the time to do the interview at IFE and then to do this follow up. We've broken our model here, and I think we're going to do it this way going forward. So you've set the bar very high. Thank you.
Well, no, thank you very much for having me, and um, always here. So thank you very much, and hope to see you soon.
Happy Passover.
Happy Passover. Bye bye.
Thank you all.